we're looking at polyrhythms. I don't know if you've heard of polyrhythms. Drummers love polyrhythms because we don't deal with melody or harmony, so we like to muck around with timing as much as possible. And a polyrhythm is essentially when you've got two or more rhythms going together at the same time that seem to be conflicting with each other. So often you might have something going on with your feet that seems to conflict with what's going on with your hands, and after a certain amount of time they will resolve, meaning they both start again at the same point. I tend to use them in small bursts in places, because if you do it for too long, in most genres of music, it's a bit distracting and unwanted, but you can sneak them in there for certain areas of maybe a small passage of music, or maybe a fill between sections, or just like you're playing along and you just chuck it in for a bar and then you get out again before anyone's noticed what's going on. It's just something interesting's happened, but people don't quite know what it is. So I use them a lot like that. Now we're going to look at hemiola today specifically. I mean, this type of polyrhythm is, you know, it's just famous within some African communities. It's just like second nature to them. Here, as drummers, especially in the Western world, listening to mainstream pop and rock, we don't hear it so often. Things are a lot more regimented and fixed in one subdivision. So we have to kind of really go out of our way to learn these and get used to them. So let's do this. All right, so looking at the sheet here, we've got some basic stuff. We've got eighth notes and eighth note triplets. And that's all we're going to play today. Eighth notes, which you're familiar with. Where's my voice going? And eighth note triplets. So this is 70 BPM. So here are eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and... Here's eighth note triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Okay, you're familiar with both of those. Now, time for the polyrhythm. So we can see here it says mixing the duple and tuple subdivisions together. So duple just meaning 2 and tuple 3. So what we're going to do, you can see there's 3 things here, but there's really only 2, and then the bottom line is we put the 2 together. So number 1, eighths with hands, triplets with feet. So this is where the polyrhythm element comes in. You're comfortable with your eighth notes, you're comfortable with your eighth note triplets, but you don't play them together because one of them has 2 beats or 2 notes in a beat, one has 3 notes in a beat. So when you put them together, the first note connects, right? But because we're squeezing 3 triplet notes in, they move a bit faster than the 2 eighth notes. So the first note connects, but then the second note of the triplet comes in before the second eighth note. So it kind of looked like that on the grid if you put them together. Rather than me doing this weird thing here, just look at the sheet music. You can see the triplets at the bottom there and the eighth notes above them. You can see how it all locks together. Now, you can do this between your hands, or you can do it between a hand and a foot. And if you do it that way, you've got different combinations you can do, because you could do right hand, left foot, left hand, right foot, right hand, right foot, left hand, left foot. So you can really muck around with the independence of the limbs as well. Or you could do it between both feet. But just to grasp the concept today, I'm actually going to play it with just 2 hands. You can see them here. I'm going to play it on, I've got on this Vic Firth pad, a soft surface and a hard surface. You can hear the 2 things together. Okay, so the first one, we're going to play triplets with one limb and eighth notes with the other. I'm going to do it with my right hand playing the triplets, left hand playing the eighth notes. Let me just play the sound first before we get it with the clicks. You'll hear it, and it doesn't sound that weird. It's just a bit weird to play it. So here we go. Okay, so it's a cool thing you could just chuck in as one fill, and that sounds interesting, and then you're out again before anyone's got confused. Now let me do it again, and I'll pull out each limb one at a time so you can kind of hear them. In fact, let's try this with the metronome. Okay, so that's roughly the speed I was doing out. This is 70 BPM. So, hemiola. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, got a bit excited and sped up there, but I pulled it back. So you can hear how they work, and by me splitting it, you can hear the individual elements, the triplets and the eighth notes, and together they create that sound. Now that was 70, you might want to go a bit slower to get comfortable with it, or even do it without a metronome, you know. Just get used to that sound. And I'll just play this, so you can play it with me if you want, just to try and get a feel for it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's that. Okay. The second one down is the exact same thing, but we switched the role of each limb. So I was playing triplets with my right hand, eighth notes with my left hand. Now the left hand will do triplets, and the right hand will do eighth note. So left hand's triplets, right hand eighth notes. I just went back the other way. One triplet, two triplet. 1 and 2 and. Okay, so hopefully that's making sense. So we've played the two, you know, we've switched the limbs over, and if you're doing it with the feet or like one hand and one foot as it's written there, then just switch the roles over. Okay, same principle. So the challenge, we come down to the last bar. Play both bars continuously. So we're going to play number 1 first for a bar, then switch into number 2. This will probably mess with your head quite a bit, because making that change, the limbs have to reverse roles on the spot. So that's quite hard. So you really do want to just work on the 2 individual examples for a while first to get comfortable with those before you even get close to trying to you know, flip between them. But assuming you're there now, let's try that. Let's hear what it sounds like putting it together. So I'll do it at 70 BPM again. 1 bar of each. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 4. 3, 4. 4 and 1. Woohoo! That's it. I've got to say, the thing I focus on there, and bearing in mind we've worked on each individual pattern, so we almost don't have to think about the polyrhythm too much. We're used to that sound. You're used to that sound. What I focus on when I'm flipping is the triplet limb. I don't know why. Well, I guess because that plays the second note before the other hand plays its second note. So I need to make sure that speed's there. So I'm thinking triplet. And I know the other hand just falls into place behind it. You know, that eighth note just falls into place. But I focus on the triplet limb to get that speed each time. So if it's the right hand doing it, I'm going 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Then left hand, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3.